Have you ever found yourself suspended in time, standing at a crossroads where you're no longer where you once were, but you're not yet where you want to be? It's a strange in-between place, a mix of uncertainty and anticipation, where both hesitation and excitement take root. I'm sure you've felt this too. It's that moment of transition, like the twilight hours, neither fully day nor entirely night. It's the space where light begins to fade and darkness hasn't yet claimed the sky. This is the essence of liminality, a time or place of in-betweenness, where you've left the old behind but haven't fully stepped into the new. It's a phase filled with uncertainty but also ripe with potential for transformation. And here's the exciting part. Liminality is where possibilities are born. It's the gateway to something greater, a space where you can shed old limitations and embrace what's waiting just beyond the horizon. In the uncertainty lies the magic of becoming who you are and what you could be. Begins in this very moment. Welcome back to the LilWeird Podcast. I'm your host, Jane, and it feels good to be back after a month-long break. I've been through a major transition, balancing a new phase of work and study. A lot was happening around me during this time, and it got me thinking about life's big shifts. Those moments when you say goodbye to the familiar and embrace something completely new, like starting a new job or taking on a project that you know will change your life in a big way. But there's the interesting part. During that waiting period, where you're in the midst of the transition, it can feel like nothing is happening. Yet, underneath it all, you get this strange, almost uncanny feeling that something's brewing, something is about to change. I'm sure many of you can relate to that experience, standing at the crossroads of the old and the new, caught in the space between. We're talking about the concept of liminality, the in-between space where uncertainty meets transformation. Remember when you left your last job and had those weeks before starting a new one? You weren't part of your old routine anymore, but you hadn't yet stepped into the new one either. Time seemed to stretch, and in that space, you felt like you were somewhere else, not quite grounded in either reality. Recently, I've been in a similar space, navigating a new phase of work and study. It felt like standing at the threshold of something new, one foot still planted in the familiar, while the other reaches into the unknown. For many, this in-between phase is a time of vulnerability. You might feel uncertain or even lost, but it's also a time when something new is brewing beneath the surface, even if you can't quite see it yet. Think about the last time you were waiting for a big change, maybe moving to a new city or starting a new job. That odd blend of anticipation and unease, that's liminality. The concept of liminality is fascinating, especially when explored through folklore, rituals, and the paranormal. Liminality refers to the transitional state between two different conditions, phases, or places. It's where normal rules don't quite apply, and where strange or otherworldly events are often believed to occur. The word liminal comes from the Latin word limen, meaning threshold, the boundary between two spaces. Have you ever walked through an empty school hallway on a weekend where there should be noise but there's only silence? Or been in an airport late at night when the usual bustle is replaced by stillness? These places feel eerie because they exist in a state of movement and pause, suspended between two worlds. These are liminal spaces where you feel disconnected from time and reality. These spaces aren't meant for staying in, but when you pass through them, they evoke a unique, almost unsettling feeling. Some examples include empty parking lots at night, usually full of cars and people. They feel vast and strangely desolate under the yellow glow of streetlights, as if time has paused. Hotel hallways. At night, walking down the carpeted halls, you sense the transient existence of people behind the doors. Yet, the hallway itself feels suspended between worlds, doors, and thresholds. Doorways and thresholds in homes also hold liminal significance, symbolizing the boundary between the outside world and the inner world. In some Filipino traditions, when entering or leaving a house at night, you may ask for permission from spirits who might be occupying the threshold. Another example of liminal spaces. Let's talk about empty public markets. In rural areas of the Philippines, public markets are usually bustling with life during the day, but they close early, often around 6 p.m. Once the vendors have packed up, the stores have shuttered, and public transportation has disappeared, the place feels utterly deserted. What once a busy, vibrant space during the day seems completely hollowed out by night. There's an unsettling stillness that creeps in. Something about these dark, empty markets gives off an eerie, almost uncanny vibe. I have this strange connection to public markets at night. In fact, one of the recurring nightmares I've had involves being stuck in an empty public market after dark. I dream of wandering through the silent, empty buildings, feeling trapped and searching for someone to rescue me. The darkness feels like it's closing in, and soon, shadowy figures appear out of nowhere, chasing me through the empty stalls. The sense of being abandoned in that cold, hollow space is what haunts me the most. I think these nightmares stem from a very real fear I had as a child. When I was younger, especially in high school, I commuted to school in a nearby town. Even though my family had a private car, there were times when I had to take public transportation, especially on weekends. My commute always ended at our local public market, where I would wait for a tricycle to take me home. But tricycles were limited, and if you missed the last trip, you were stuck, left to call someone to pick you up. The market would be completely empty and dark by then, and standing there alone was honestly terrifying. I think that's where this fear comes from. The sense of being stranded in a place that's familiar during the day, but turns into something dark and foreboding at night. It's a fear that follows me into my dreams, where the darkness and emptiness feel like they're chasing me. These spaces create a sense of dislocation, where the familiar becomes strange and time seems to bend. They remind us that even ordinary locations can take on a surreal, otherworldly quality when they become liminal. The backrooms phenomenon, an internet subculture exploring eerily familiar yet unsettling spaces, taps into this concept. These environments, familiar but vacant, like empty office spaces, provoke a feeling of being lost in reality glitch. Liminality isn't just about spaces, it's also about time. Liminal times are those moments where the boundaries of reality blur. Think of twilight when it's neither day nor night, or that quiet just before midnight when time seems to stretch. In many cultures, twilight is believed to be when supernatural forces are most active. In Filipino culture, for example, twilight is seen as a time when spirits roam, which we discussed back in episode 1. Midnight, often seen as a magical or haunted time in various cultures. It's the moment when one day becomes the next. This liminal pocket makes the usual roles of time feel different. These moments, like the hours or days before a big life event, feel heavy with expectation yet seem to stretch out endlessly. You're caught in a liminal phase, waiting for the shift. Now, to make things LilWeird, let's step into the spooky side of liminality and talk about how it manifests in the paranormal world. Because we're better to explore the eerie and the unknown than in those spaces between life and death, between waking and dreaming. Liminality isn't just a concept for life transitions. It's deeply embedded in folklore and supernatural experiences. Ghosts and liminal spaces. In many traditions, Ghosts are believed to be stuck in a liminal state, trapped between life and death, unable to fully cross over to the other side. This in-between state makes them more likely to interact with the living, caught between two realms. It's that suspended existence that gives ghosts their otherworldly, restless nature. Here in the Philippines, we have Undas, All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day, when it's said the spirits of the deceased linger close to the world of the living. During this liminal period, when the veil between the two worlds is thinnest, families offer prayers and food to the dead. We'll actually be diving deeper into this tradition and its supernatural elements in the future episode, just in time for our Halloween special. So stay tuned for that as we explore the mysteries and rituals surrounding Undas. The balete tree as a liminal space. In Philippine folklore, the balete tree is one of the most iconic examples of a liminal space. This massive tree, often found in forests or near old roads, is believed to be home to spirits and supernatural beings such as Encanto or Capre. The balete tree is seen as a boundary between the human world and the spirit realm, making it a threshold, a liminal space where ordinary reality and the supernatural can overlap. It's a place where people are advised to be cautious, as it's believed that disturbing the spirits who reside there could lead to strange illnesses or misfortunes. Many Filipinos still offer a sign of respect like saying "tabi-tabi po" when passing by a balete tree, to avoid offending the spirits who guard the space. This reverence shows how the balete tree is deeply tied to the idea of liminality, serving as a portal between our world and something beyond. If you want to explore more about the roots of Filipino superstitious beliefs, check out episode 2 where we explore deeper into these concepts. One of the most infamous balete tree in the Philippines is located on Balete Drive in Quezon City, Metro Manila. This road has become notorious for ghost sightings, especially that of the White Lady, who is said to haunt the area. According to legend, a woman was murdered near a balete tree on Balete Drive, and her restless spirit now wanders the street, particularly in the dead of the night. Numerous motorists have reported spine-chilling encounters, seeing her in their rearview mirrors, sometimes sitting in the backseat of their cars or standing eerily by the roadside, only to disappear moments later. The balete tree, which once stood prominently along this road, was believed to be a portal through which the White Lady's spirit traveled between realms. Many locals still refuse to drive down Balete Drive after dark, fearing an encounter with the restless spirit. Over time, these stories have cemented the road's haunted reputation, making it a key part of Filipino ghost lore. But Balete Drive isn't the only place where balete trees carry such mystique. The enchanted balete tree of Siquijor is another famous example. Siquijor itself is often regarded as one of the most mystical islands in the Philippines, and its balete tree, estimated to be over 400 years old, holds a special place in local lore. Nestled in the town of Lazi, the tree is said to be home to Encanto, nature spirits and elemental beings. Locals believe the tree to be enchanted, and disturbing it is said to bring strange, often ominous consequences. If you want to know more about Encantos and mystical places, check out episode 3, where we talk about an enchanted metropolis believed to be the home of Encantos that cannot be easily seen by the naked eye. What adds to the tree's mystical aura is the natural spring flowing from its base, which feeds a pool where visitors can dip their feet. The water is rumored to have healing properties, yet many visitors have reported feeling a sense of unease while near the tree, as if unseen eyes are watching. According to local legend, the balete tree also serves as a gathering place for mangkukulam or sorcerers and albularyo or traditional healers who are said to perform rituals under the cover of night. You can also check episode 4 if you're interested about sorcery and witchcraft in Philippine folk magic, where we talk about renowned and feared practices in the Visayan region. And then, there's the Millennium Tree in Maria Aurora, Aurora Province, said to be the largest balete tree in the Philippines. Standing at over 600 years old, This colossal tree is revered not only for its age but also for its mystical significance. I had the chance to see this tree up close, and let me tell you, it's not just massive, it has an almost palpable energy. The way its enormous roots twist and form natural tunnels gives you the feeling that you're standing at the entrance to another dimension. What's even more fascinating is that you can actually walk inside the tree's hollow trunk, which only adds to its mysterious allure. The Millennium Tree, like other balete trees, is considered a liminal space, a threshold between the physical world and the spirit realm. The tree's towering presence and ancient roots create a sense of timelessness, making you feel like you're standing on the edge of two worlds. But beyond its mystical reputation, the Millennium Tree is also of great environmental significance. As a protected tree, its massive root system symbolizes the resilience of the natural world, having withstood centuries of environmental changes and natural disasters. Now, let's dive deeper into one of the most terrifying liminal experiences, the phenomenon of sleep paralysis, known locally as bangungot. It happens when you're stuck between wakefulness and sleep, caught in that uncomfortable transition where your mind is awake but your body hasn't quite caught up. During sleep paralysis, many people report seeing shadowy figures or feeling an oppressive presence in the room. This is a classic liminal experience, being caught between two worlds, unable to move or scream, as if trapped in that unsettling state where reality warps. You're no longer fully asleep but not yet awake, leaving you vulnerable to those dark, mysterious forces that seem to linger just beyond our understanding. In Filipino folklore, bangungot is often seen as something far more sinister than just a sleep disorder. It's considered a supernatural attack where a spirit or demon is trying to take your soul while you're stuck in this liminal space. We actually explored this in episode 7, Ancient Practices in a Modern World. So, if you're curious to learn more about the terrifying phenomenon of sleep paralysis, be sure to check that out. Liminality is strange. It's that moment when we're caught between two worlds, not fully of the past and not yet in the future. It's a space where time seems to stretch, reality feels uncertain, and something unspoken lingers in the air. Whether you're walking through an empty market long after the vendors have left, standing at the edge of twilight, or trapped in a recurring dream, liminality pulls you into the unknown. It's in these moments where life feels uncanny, where the usual rules dissolve, and you can't quite put your finger on what's wrong, but you know something is different. It's that eerie feeling, that sensation of being watched, or the sound of your own footsteps echoing in an empty street. You feel like you're walking through a portal where anything could happen, where the world around you is familiar yet foreign at the same time. Liminality isn't just an experience, it's also a reminder. A reminder that life itself is full of thresholds, moments of transition where we're forced to confront the unknown. Sometimes, it's in these unsettling spaces where the most profound transformations happen, but it's also in these spaces where we confront our deepest fears. The fear of being stuck, of being lost, of not knowing what comes next. And maybe that's what makes liminality so powerful. It's not just a passage between phases, but the moment where you can feel the universe holding its breath, waiting. It's where your old self and your future self collide. And for just a brief moment, you're surrounded in between, unsure of who you are or where you're headed. It's both terrifying and exhilarating. The question is, when you find yourself in that liminal space, will you try to escape or will you embrace the discomfort, the uncertainty, and see what awaits on the other side? If you've enjoyed this dive into liminality and the mysteries of the in-between, make sure to subscribe to the LilWeird Podcast for more thought-provoking and eerie explorations. Do you have your own liminal experiences or paranormal encounters? Share your stories with me on social media or email, and who knows, you might hear your story featured in a future episode. Don't forget to check out my previous episodes and stay tuned for our upcoming Halloween special where we'll dive deeper into haunted stories. You won't want to miss it. Until next time, keep embracing the weird and wonderful moments around you. Stay curious and step closer because sometimes the most extraordinary discoveries happen in the places where we least expect, just beyond the shadows. Thanks for listening.